Well, I put it off as long as I could. I had to dig into my diode blob. This was a custom board I built. I mean, it's really not a board, it's just a test part. But I used a lot of joints and solder, and it's just a blob. Look how thick it is and everything, and it's just awful. And I was having trouble fitting it on top of the engine. I was trying to fit it up on top of this thing, thinking that was a nice flat spot and I had space. I was working on something else yesterday, and I happened to notice this cavity, this huge cavity between the engine. If I use this pointer here, and then if I can get the camera in, the magnet doesn't pull everything. I have this space in here. It doesn't look like much, but it's really cavernous and wide, and I can screw whatever I put in there, I screw it up if I can keep it flat. So if I can keep it flat, here's the idea. This is the board. There's the board, and if I kept it flat and I could stuff it in there, if it was thinner, it would fit, okay? And what happens with these wires? Two wires come down here to the motor and go right up into the board. The other two wires reach up and plug in right here to the relay. So I can have two wires coming down here and two more wires coming out here and plugging in from underneath. That's all I need to do, and then I'm done. And then it feeds into the harness from the smoke, right? Because this is combination motor socket and smoke power socket. That's what this harness does. I happen to have this logic board on here, so I drew this thing out, and I says, well, I only need 4 diodes. Two opposite ends need to connect here so that it can take either positive or negative signal, and then 2 ends out here combine, but out here I only want the positive to combine and the negatives to combine. So I'll always get an A positive out of here and always get a B positive out of here, even though when the motor changes directions, this goes from an A positive to a B negative. But I don't care, because I have an A positive here, and it's going to make its way through the circuit, and it's going to make its way through this circuit, sorry, and it's going to go through all the way to here. So there's your A, and then the negative, B, is going to come through that circuit, and it's going to come over here. There's your B. So if I put this together properly with these components, I got a very simple board. Now I got some black marks on here, but don't worry about it. What I want you to try to focus on is just the parts, the components. You see the 4 diodes, you see the 4 jumpers, and you see the 2 connector pins. That's it. And those copper strips there are actually like tracks. If I solder the parts to the same track, they're connected. And if I join the tracks, 2 tracks, by a jumper, then they're connected. So this track is going to be connected to this track, and they're both negative. This track is going to be connected to this track, and they're both positive. So then if I take that positive signal here, I got it, and if I take this negative signal here, I've got it here, regardless of what's coming in over here. And over here I got motor brush 1 and brush 2, and they switch. When they go to reverse, their polarity changes. But in this case, the signal comes in, it jumps across these 2 tracks, and this one is a negative, this one is a positive. So if it comes in negative, it's going to go this way and go to the negative pole, and if it comes in this way as positive, it's going to go this way and it's going to go to the positive pole on the way out. So the motor, no matter what direction the motor is turning, forward or backward, I'm going to get a positive pulse saying, and what all that tells me is not tells me direction. No, it tells me direction. It tells me, excuse me, not direction. It tells me the motor's running, which is all I want for the relay. The relay does the puff and brake. Depending on where the cam is, we're going to puff or we're going to brake. Remember the cam. We shortened the puff cam and we lengthened the dwell for brake at the side point. But the thing is, the signal's going to come from here to direct the smoke what to do. The motor, the fan on the smoke, are you going to puff or are you going to brake? If the motor's going this way and the cam strikes, I'm going to puff and brake. If the motor's going the other way, I'm going to puff and brake on the cam the same way, exactly the same way, no matter what direction, just depending on if I'm on or off pulse. Okay, if I'm off, then the relay has a direct default route to 4 volts for an idle fan smoke. Anyway, that's how it works. So there it is. Now these leads will get soldered and cut. So what you're looking at, if you look at the height of the board, it's like the thing in the board is the height. And that looks like it'll fit, and I can put a piece of tape on the bottom, or if I want, and kind of keep it isolated that way in case, but I think I'll be okay. I can put something on the bottom to isolate it, but I think this is going to be thin enough, and what I'm going to do is cut it right along here, so it's going to be very short, and it'll just stick in like that, and then the pins will connect and the wires will come out. It looks like it could be a little wide. Oh, I'm sorry, I probably wasn't aiming it right. It looks like it does look a little wide, doesn't it? May have to tighten that up somehow. Oh, I know I can, because these pins can be tighter. Yeah. All right, I'll rework it a little bit and see if I can get it shorter. Or can I go this way? Well, I could go that way. I could go that way, but I don't really want to. Okay, let's see what I can do with it. Anyway, I'll figure it out, but just want to let you know progress. This thing came together. I did the doodle, did the test, and it just came together. I rummaged around. I found this board, and I liked it because it has some tracks in it already that I could use. I don't have to solder wire to create a track. I just do the jumpers, and I've got it. So I felt good about that. All right, I'll post this. You guys can look at it. Meanwhile, I'm going to make it. Bye.